How's everybody doing today? Give me a one in the chat if you can hear me. Get the slideshow up. Struggle streaming on Christmas Eve. Let's see. I appreciate that. Appreciate it. Give me one in the chat if you can hear me. Shout out to Larry. Shout out to D Ready. Glad you could join me. Stuff sewn in by Joan. Thanks for joining me. Tech Rave. Thanks for joining me. Larry definitely showing support. You see it right there. NIST 800-53 revision 5. We're talking about personnel security today. So that's what we're going to hit. It's going to be short. I know everybody's business on Christmas Eve. Hopefully you're not on the naughty list. We're going to keep it moving. Let's see. You know how we do it. If you got any questions, tech or cybersecurity, drop them in the chat and we'll get to them. Oh, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Hope you checked out my playlist. I have a compliance playlist. It's probably 60 or 70 hours now. I've done cyber and security for about 15 years. So been in that federal space for that long. So I decided to do a YouTube channel. So people come and go. Shout out to Larry, definitely a supporter. Definitely about that government life. So once again, if you got anything in tech or cybersecurity, drop them in the chat. Standard 3-tier architecture for AWS. I always read this every time. NIST 800-53 provides a catalog of security privacy controls for all United States federal information systems, except those related to national security. It's published by the National Institute of Standard and Technology. That's where the NIST comes from, which is a non-regulatory agency of the United States Department of Commerce, which I thought it should be under DHS, right? I thought it should be under Department of Homeland Security, but whatever. It's under the Department of Commerce. NIST develops and issues standards and guidelines and other publications to assist federal agencies in implementing the Federal Information Security Modernization Act of 2014, aka FISMA, and to help with managing cost-effective programs to protect their information and information systems. Most people know my specialty is the IRS, so that's kind of the agency I've been reporting to from a federal compliance standpoint. So that's my lane. Here's the 20 security families of NIST. You see, we almost done. We're over there on the PS, personal security. If you want to go back in the playlist, the compliance playlist, all of these other security families, we done videos on, so we trekking through. Oh, good. I'm just starting a journey. I found out you about a week ago. I checked the playlist. Yeah, that's all good. Let's see. My man's taking a holiday off. But yeah, good luck on that journey. Cybersecurity, GRC. It's a good place to be. Sometimes it's a little rough to get into, but we're here to help you get into it. Shout out to Gail at Night, one of the best moderators on there. I appreciate you. Before the billions, check my man out. Happy holidays to everybody. So let's get going. You see it up there. We're going to do the personal security. It's going to be short tonight on Christmas Eve. These are the security families. These are the sub-families on there. We always know the -1 is policy procedures. PS2 is position, risk, and designation. Personnel security is 3. Personnel termination is 4. Personnel transfers 5. Access agreement, external personnel security, personnel sanctions, and position description. So those are the 9 families. I think I'll pick out like 4 or 5 of those. But of course, if you got any questions on the other ones, we can always dig into some more. So once again, we're hitting all the security families, trying to hit like 4 or 5 of the sub families. I always go hit that -1 because that's the policy and procedures. And anything you're going to do in a government, you got to have a policy and procedure. So once again, develop, document, and disseminate a personnel security policy that addresses purpose, scope, roles, responsibility, management, commitment, coordination among organizational entities, and compliance. It's consistent with applicable laws, executive orders, directive, regulations, policy, standards, and guidelines. Personnel security policy procedures for control and the PS families are implemented within your system or organization. The risk management strategy is an important factor in establishing such policies and procedures. Right, so that's part of that risk management. That's it. 2, position risk designation. Assign a risk designation to all organizational positions, establishing screening criteria for individually filling those positions, review and update those position risk designation. The position risk designation reflect the Office of Personnel, OPM, policies and guidelines. Proper position designation is the foundation of effective and consistent suitability and personal security program. The position designation assesses the duties, responsibility of the position to determine the degree of potential damage to the efficiency, integrity of the service due to misconduct of an incumbent of the position and establish the risk level of that. The thing that just happened is it's not the risk is we know that one executive got deleted. So part of that is your succession plan, right? That was in planning, but a lot of times I put in a position. So if this person, gets sick or something happens, what's your succession plan? A lot of big corporations don't let all the C-suite fly together, right? Because if something happens to that complaint, you can take out the whole organization, right? A lot of times they have organizational knowledge that can't be replaced. So that's part of the risk of your position risk designation. And a lot of big companies they call them key man designations. Like this organization couldn't go forward without a certain person, right? A lot of people think that's Elon Musk. A lot of people thought that was Steve Jobs. In the old days, they thought that was Bill Gates and Balmer, right? But once an organization has, 5,000 to 10,000 people, right, that key man is not as critical as it is if you're a small organization. So that's why, once again, that position risk designation, I don't see that a lot at the federal level and the government level. We talk about risk, right, from a person if that person's credentials get stolen, but we really don't talk a lot about that, what they say, position risk designation for that. I think a lot of times that's more of an HR designation. But of course, cybersecurity, especially at NIST, they touch all levels of the org. So that what makes it interesting, though. Like we know before the billions is he's a key man to his organization because he is the man, right? So that risk will be high to his organization. All right, so let's keep rolling. Personnel screening. Screen individuals prior to authorizing access to systems and rescreen individuals according with the organizationally defined conditions. I took the IRS coming up, and we're going to talk about their personal screening for background checks. That's real big in the Fed is getting your background checks done and through. Personnel screening, rescreening activities reflect applicable laws, executive order, directives, and regulations to policy standards and procedures. Once again, we're going to talk about the IRS, their background checks for the person's personal screening, and what that looks like from a federal compliance standpoint, and once again, an executive standpoint. So, Here, I'm gonna drop the link because I don't think we're gonna be here long. So if anybody wants to come up or chit chat or drop something in the chat, once again, tech or cybersecurity, drop that in the chat. So let's keep going. Yeah, personnel screening. That's one of the big things is I tell especially young people is get your credit score right. I mean, because I was amazed. I was working at a Fortune 500 company, and I don't know. I was getting a mortgage for a house, and it just came up. I don't know how. I was looking at my files or something, and it says uh, I was getting a mortgage. I'm like, I thought that was kind of personal, but once again, I'm with. I used to be where we were sending out millions of dollars, so I had access to those files. So they want to know if you malleable, meaning can somebody blackmail you? Are you overextended? Do you have too much debt? Right, that comes about when they do their background check. So that credit score, right? So a lot of times, if your credit's bad, depending on where you at in cybersecurity, you might not get that job. To me, I think that's an overreach. If you get in the industry and you pay me well, then I won't have a lot of debt, right? So, but no, that's weighed heavily a lot in those background checks. Shout out to Before the Billions. So let's keep going. Like I said, I think it's gonna be short. Personnel is, it's kind of one of those high level things. I do a lot with that. Or when I used to look at RFPs. So this is the sub families in there. We call those enhancement controls. PS1 is the enhancement controls for classified information. Verify the individuals accessing the system, processing, store, transmitting classified information are cleared and indoctrinated to the highest level classification of the information to which they have access to. So what does that mean at a high level? Well, let's keep going and we'll get into it. Indoctrination. I just don't like how that sounds. Formal indoctrination. Verify the individual accessing the system. Processing, storing, and transmitting types of classified information that requires formal indoctrination or formally indoctrined for all the relevant types of information to which they have access to. Information requiring special protective measure. Verify individuals accessing the system, processing, storing, and transmitting information requiring special protection, have valid access authorization that are demonstrated by assigned official government duties and satisfying the organizationally defined additional screening criteria. Verify the processing, storing, transmission by organization defined to have a citizenship requirement. A lot of times, if you're doing federal data, you got to at least have a green card. And a lot of times, they want you to be a United States citizen, and that data can't leave U.S. territories. Hawaii is U.S. territory, but that data must stay within U.S. territories. That's one reason I like federal data or federal work. They have a citizenship requirement, so you cut out a lot of their competition. Let's see what my man Larry is saying. In my experience, the military also scrutinized my finance when I was in line for a secret clearance. Civilian, federal government, public trust, definitely not as much. No, facts. The higher the level, definitely they dig in more. Like secret clearance and top secret, they really start digging into your finances and your background. No, you're 100% correct about that. I think I have a public trust. I think. No, I know I have a public trust. So shout out to the public trust. Once again, we're going to talk about the IRS. Theirs is higher than the public trust, but definitely lower than the secret. It's kind of somewhere in the middle of that. Let's keep rolling. Personnel termination. Upon termination of an individual employment, disable the systems within defined period. We usually try to do it that day. Terminate or revoke any authenticators or credentials associated with the individual. Conduct an exit interview that includes a discussion. Retrieve all security-related, organizational, system-related property. Retain access to the organization information system formerly controlled by terminated. basically you got to turn in your laptop. A lot of times they want your badges, and sometimes they want your MFA cards. Not a lot of times. Those are pretty cheap now. They definitely want to get that laptop back, right? And a lot of times they're gonna lock you out and send you that drop ship label so you can send the hardware back. System property includes hardware authentication tokens, system administration, technical manuals, keys, identification card, building pass, exit interviews, ensure the terminated individual understand the security constraints imposed by being a former employee, that proper accountability is achieved for system-related property. Security topics at the exit interviews include reminding individuals of non-disclosure agreements and potential limitations on future employment. Exit interviews may not always be possible for some individuals, including cases related to unavailability of supervision, illness, or job abandonment. Exit interviews are important for individuals with security clearance. The timely execution of termination action is essential for individuals who have a term situation. Organization consider disabling their accounts. Individuals who are terminated prior to the individual being notified. Yeah, I used to work in mainframe security. Man, they tell us on Friday, they fire you on Monday. You locked out over the weekend. So facts. Let's see who's in there. Shout out to my man before the billions joining us. What's going on, man?
Hey, PBO, how are you doing?
Man, I'm doing all right. How you doing on Christmas Eve, man? I thought you'd be out clubbing it up, son, man. You young. I thought you'd be out and about in the great black mecca of Atlanta doing some stuff. What's going on with you?
Just editing the video right now, man. Just putting it up, talking about these tech conferences and how expensive they are.
I saw the other one, which you was talking about. No severance, man. I see the big no severance. We just kick you out and giving you no money, man. What's going on with that?
Man, it's interesting about the thumbnail. Mm-hmm. Try to make it entertaining to some sort, make people want to click on it. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And right now I'm getting clowned about it because I had to make like the YouTuber face, right? Like,
Yeah.
Make a shocked face.
Yeah, why they clowning you, man? I thought it was a good thumbnail, man. Tell them stop hating on you, man.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I'm over here trying to make it to where more people will click on it and watch my stuff. So
I see.
Yeah,
the sad part about it is when you did the one where you losing your house, man, you got like 50,000, man, or whatever that one was. People like to see you down bad, man. When you down bad, everybody clicking on it.
Oh yeah, that is definitely true. People are still watching that video.
Man, that was the one, man.
Yeah, PBO.
Let me read this quick thing in the chat real quick. Not true with the finance side to security clearance from working in the FOA space. They do look at the credit and finances, especially if you owe the IRS, TS, and PT. Now, true on the IRS, I always pay late. I used to always get recommended. I'm like, I'm in good standing, but I guess I need to pay on time. I don't know. I'm bad about that. Shout out to Aiken for joining me. Go ahead, BDB. I cut you off. What were you going to add to that?
Yeah, there's a point that you talked about with the credit scores. I mean, I know that there are companies that I think that the higher paying companies are not doing like the regular background checks, like the drug screening and stuff. They're more so checking your credit.
Facts.
And I think that is a bigger telltale sign. And the interesting thing about it is that I don't know if they just look at specifically the score, your FICO score, or they look at what it is. Like if you have 100% payment history, you don't have a lot of new credit or anything, but your utilization is high, your FICO score can be really low, just because of the utilization, because that's like 35% of the whole total score. And so you can easily go from like a 700 credit score to like a 500 credit score if you have like a maxed out utilization.
Facts. 100%.
So I'm trying to see like what exactly do they care about? Do they care about just the raw number, meaning like, all right, you got like hood people credit score if you have like a 500 or something,
Both.
or okay.
Both.
So they look at the score and they look at like what actually
Well,
it is.
if they like you, they look at your score. It's okay. B2B is valuable. He, definitely that engineer. We want him to run this department. He got a 550. So then they're gonna say, why do you have a 550? Okay, this something. Shout out to Larry. Like he's saying there. He said interesting. He said I was going through child support issues and lost an appeal. Ended up indebted to the IRS and was still able to obtain a position. So like Larry said, is if you were indebted to that, like Larry said, long story short, I was making a crap load of money. Then I got laid off. I owed the IRS like 40 bands, man. But long story short, though, is once I got on a payment plan, I was in good standing, right? So it wasn't that I owed the IRS. I was in good standing, and once they see why, long as you're in good standing. Now, if you owe them 40 bands and you're not paying them, right, you're in bad standing. So they dig in. They start asking you questions why. Okay, you were in debt, but my even though I owe the IRS, my credit score was still 710 at the time, 720. So once again, they'll start digging and asking you why. Right? They said, why I didn't pay? I just said I owed X amount, or why, So they'll start, you just don't have to justify them. They call it adjudicators when they try to adjudicate your clearance. So then they just start asking you questions. Why is this and what did that happen? Wow. So.
Yeah, man. I think that I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of people having to pay off the IRS simply because of so many layoffs, man. There were so many layoffs and people having to take out their stocks and investments and stuff
401k.
Just to be able to survive.
Yeah. The cool thing
said
though,
401ks?
Yeah, cashing out their 401ks early, and so that kind of, like you said, makes your IRS bill higher. So yeah, too. But I think if you owe, the big thing, the IRS loves to put you on a payment plan. So long as you get on a payment plan, most people get scared. So once you get on a payment plan, you're in good standing, right? Because you're not hiding, you making payments. So that's the thing. Now, if you're not making payments, then they have to come after you, right? Now you're not in good standing. Shout out to Space Tacos for joining me. I appreciate you. You have a happy holidays and a Merry Christmas. Definitely be in the B2B's Discord and Space Tacos Discord. I'll be in everybody's Discord. So.
Yeah, PBO. That's really interesting though. I mean, because I know a lot of people have to take out loans too, to be able to survive against their house. And I heard that you can't just take out your 401k just because you need the money. You got to take it out for like specific reasons.
Hardship.
Like you losing something.
Yeah, you gotta show hardship. The only thing where that doesn't apply is if you leave jobs, they give it to you to transfer, and you can just cash it out. I usually cash mine out half the time. So, because I was doing a lot of real estate, so for a minute, so I was cashing out, paying on my real estate, and doing some real estate deals with it. So,
so you would take out your retirement before you were old enough to purchase real estate.
Yeah, now hopefully my real estate is going to pay for my retirement. We're going to see how that goes. Hasn't been going well for me lately, so but yeah, that's my plan. So we'll see.
Gotcha.
Let me read this one on the screen real quick. Personnel transfers. That's one of the big deals. Review and confirm ongoing operational needs for current logical and physical access authorization and system and facilities. When individuals are reassigned or transferred to other position within the organization, we try to do that every year, every 6 months. Modified access authorization and need to corresponding. So for us, this is a big one because you get privilege creep. So B2B is a very important guy. He's doing special projects, special assignments. The next thing you know, he got as much rights as a system admin or a DBA. So once he goes back to his normal job and not doing his special projects, one of the things we know is need to know and least privilege. So we want to make sure, even though B2B is important, we want to make sure he just has the privileges just enough to do his job, because if some reason the bad guy got his credentials, we don't want him having access to more than he needs. So then the hackers can get on other projects or bigger projects. So even for me, people think I do cyber. I have access to very little in production. If I'm in production, it's read only. Why? I don't need to update. I don't need to change. I'm doing compliance, so I'm just asking B2B, what's up with this pipeline? What's up with these permissions? What's up with the S3 bucket? And it looked like it was encrypted or something. So I don't want access because if I get hacked, I don't want nobody blaming PBO. So I just want the privileges I need. Shout out to AB. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to everybody. Chime in on that, B2B. What's your thoughts?
In addition to that, I thought about it too because now I'm working with, because like my team is over, and my company now is over like a lot of data products. So whenever anybody needs data, they come to us.
Mm-hmm.
And even other data engineers, they won't even have the same amount of access that we do.
Facts.
So it's kind of like, oh yeah, we need to push onto production. Oh, we got to go, or even like the QA environment. Oh yeah, we need to ask the like us. So the other data engineers say, oh, we need to ask them. Can you do something for us so that we can get this into production or even QA? So I thought that was pretty interesting, and then you could just set up a CI/CD pipeline, so that way you can, without having to sit there and type out everything or recreate a specific process, you just can push whatever the changes are that they made, and then make those changes in either environment that you're in.
Yeah, 100%. That's where it should be. And the cool thing, it seems like even in QA, a lot of times we put a QA manager, so you have to get permission to get QA from this person. So he's responsible for who's in QA, right?
Yeah.
So if we say, do they need, these are the privileges, or for them, they don't really know privileges. These are the job functions this person needs to do in QA. This is the job function they need in test, and this is the job function they need in production. But hopefully, like you said, we got pipelines, and very few people should have access to production. You check it in, and it gets building up there. You testing QA. Once it's test, you checking in to the production tree or whatever it is, whatever version control, and automatically gets built in production. So I see that for more mature companies. When I worked for, we did all that shit manual. So got to compile it in the database, compile a Java, put it out there, run it. So
yeah, I used to do it manual. I mean, because they like my both of my previous companies, they didn't have like a CI/CD pipeline in that way. Like they had one, they were trying to do stuff, but I don't know why. Like I was working with a company, they didn't have GitHub, so I was like, okay, well, what did we use for version control? And we didn't have anything for version control at that time. So it was kind of hard to like work with your team because all the code that you needed to do was just all on one code base, and it went directly to the master.
I know a lot of people. We were struggling with that. Okay, you put on the root branch, or do you have a production branch like V1? This is gonna be the next code, so you check it on there, then it builds. But then if you do that, then you gotta put all those branches together to make a production branch, right? Because those are just the changes. So there's a few ways to do it. So, but yeah, that maturity from certain. It's just amazing that when you read stuff about Facebook, man, they be checking in every couple hours. All that stuff's automated. They pushing green. They might push a change out to Brazil just to test it before they roll it out to the rest of the United States. I'm like, man, that's on a different level, man. So,
oh yeah, it's like, was it A/B testing?
Yeah, that's A/B test. A lot of people call it blue-green, but yeah, that's it. Let me read this quick background slide. So we talking about background, like we talking about security clearance, what you need. This is for the IRS background investigation minimum requirement, determining for suitable individual who require United States information, including FTI. That stands for federal tax information. Is a key factor. Agency must develop a written policy requiring employees, contractors, and subcontractors with access to FTI must complete a background investigation check. The policy will identify process steps, timeframes, favorability standards that the agency adopt. The agency must adopt a favorability standard set by FIS, federal investigation standards or one of that's currently used by the agency. It may develop its own. We use the FIZ. Go ahead, B2B. Chime in if you want to talk about anything else.
Yeah, I'm not really too certain about Fizz. Well, can you go back to it again?
Yeah. Yep, I can go back to it. This is a continuation of, but yeah, I can go back to the FIZ.
Because what exactly is Fizz? Is it the Federal Investigative
Sir.
Standard?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
And depending on what level, like Larry said, if you public trust, secret, top secret, or top secret with polygraph, they have different things you need to do to qualify that. And I got slides coming up talking about the qualification for FTI coming up in my next slides.
So, and then when you say the polygraph, isn't it like the lie detector test?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I've never had one. My boss had him. I'm gonna have him on the show because he had top secret. The crazy thing is, I had privilege escalation. I started working on some smaller teams, and I got promoted to the top team, which was integration. And I just had a public trust. Somebody was like, do you have a secret?" I go, "No." Like, "Why? How the hell are you in production?" I'm like, "They just gave it to me, man." They're like, "Oh yeah, we about to fire somebody." So,
did they take away your access?
No, they just kept giving me more access and never checked my background because I was at DOD for 11 years. So I just started getting promoted up the chain. And next thing I know, I was just building code and kind of pushing the production. Next thing I know, I'm changing code in production. I'm validating stuff, but I was in production. And I think to be in production for DOD, I think you need a top secret. And I just had a public trust because I had privilege escalation.
Do you think that yields to them not being able to make changes as quickly as like other companies, like the DoD's the government? Mm-hmm. So do you think that they don't make as many changes as quickly as like a private company would?
Yeah, I believe that. I think for them, they're still, even though they do agile, they're about trying to get your requirements up to date, trying to do a much bigger release. I think I've been in a decade. That's how we do. We want to like bigger releases. Where smaller companies, they're doing small releases. They're trying to, get that velocity up. I think because any change for DOD, especially because we pay as soldiers, man, you don't mess up anybody's check or their spouse's check or their retirement check. So I think for us, we didn't do those type of velocity releases. Now we'll do some releases to fix some stuff, but not a lot of requirements check. But once again, okay. I've been out there for a decade, man. It might have changed, but we wasn't doing those type of super fast releases. We were doing small patch fix releases like that, but we didn't do those, once again, that velocity type. Because for us, it's not a feature game. It's more of a, you got to get somebody's, it's more, you got to get somebody's paycheck correctly. We were paying people. So it's not like, well, if Facebook mess up, we're going to roll it back. Ain't no damage. We mess up your wife's check, you might want to come home as a soldier. So once again, we move kind of a little more deliberate on that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Makes sense. And do you think that also stops them from hiring as many people because it's more so maintenance?
Yes and no. It's maintenance, but right now, I don't know what the new regime is going to do. If you look, the government's really big on modernization because a lot of their apps are 30 years old. Mm-hmm. So the IRS, I think, got $1 billion. I did a video and we talked about that. There was a cloud RP for $9 billion that Amazon, Google, AWS, and Oracle got. So they're in modernization. So I think they're trying to upgrade a lot of their apps and redo them to the making them modern. And they still run a lot of old Java and a lot of older stuff, a lot of the older Windows.net stuff. So they're trying to move a lot of stuff to no code, get it in the cloud, get it out of their data center. So it's I don't know if I would consider that new, just more modernization, right? It's the same app. They're just trying to modernize it because it's so old. The upkeep on those is a ton of money. So
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I was just sitting here thinking about it. I was like, well, it seems like everything kind of changes when a new president comes in, right? Even though like things stay the same, but like people change and stuff, and the way of thinking changes.
Yeah, but a lot of times that's it's like a duck, right? At the top, it's a lot of movement, but underneath the water, it's paddling quick, right? So the people underneath are the same. It's just at the top makes a lot of noise. And even in the state, I don't know if Larry could comment on that. When I was at the state, every election, man, our whole C-suite would get taken out, man, and a new regime would come in. Those people that they're comfortable with, but the people doing the work's the same, but their vision or their roadmap might change from a C-suite strategy perspective. So that was always interesting to me. Let me read this quick slide. Let me read
A lot
this
of
quick slide.
restructuring. You go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of background investigation for FBI. That's the kind of the new one. FBI fingerprints. That's really above public trust, and I think below a secret. That's the one I used to have. Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI fingerprints results conducted and identifying possible suitability issues. Contact the appropriate state identification bureau for correct procedures. A list of state identification bureaus are there. The national agency check is the key evaluation history or perspective. It allows the agency to check the application criminal history in all 50 states, not only current and known past residents. So when I was at the state, I got in I wouldn't say heated discussion, an elevated discussion, because I was worried because we put some in where we didn't do background checks. Once you got adjudicated, they didn't do background checks for it. I want to say 15 years. So the CISO who I'm interviewing, he wanted to do background checks going back 15 years. I'm like, dude, the dude could have did something 15 years ago, ain't got in trouble in the last 5 years. Are you trying to fire him, man? What's going on with that, man? So we were having a heated. I didn't think he should go back that far. I can't remember how. I think he just went back 10, but I'm like, dude, he could have been on a straight and narrow for this. So, but yeah, do the FBI background check, local ones. So that's kind of what I kind of worry about. Dear ones, I reach. Oh, Courtney Marr, thank you. I appreciate it. Check me out on the replay, team replays. I appreciate you, AB. Check him out on AB Showtime. You saw him right there.
Yep. Shout out to all the people who are watching the live stream right now and everybody watching the replay.
Yep. Facts out. Here's the Sacramento. Check local law enforcement agency where the subject was lived, the worker 10 for the last 5 years. That's why I think I was talking about 5 years. If applicable, the appropriate agency for any identified arrest. The local law enforcement check will assist the agency in identifying trends of behavior that may not rise to the criteria reported to the FBI database, but is a good source of information regarding the accident or regarding the applicant. So if you have a lot of minor stuff, that could show a bad behavior, even it doesn't raise to the level of felony behavior. So I'm gonna keep going. The next one, that's one reason I do federal work, is a lot of times they want you to be a citizen or a green card, validate the subject eligibility to legally work in the United States, citizen or foreign citizen with the necessary authorization. Employers must complete an I-9 to document the verification of identity and employment authorization for each new employee hired after 1986 to work in the United States. Within 3 days of completion, any new employee must also be processed through an E-Verify to assist with the verification of their status and document to provide the I-9. The E-Verify system is free of charge and can be located there. This verification process is only completed on new employees. Any employees expiring employment eligibility must document and be monitored for continuous compliance. Go ahead, B2B. You got anything to chime in on that?
No.
So here's the big one right here is the standard Form 85P. Background investigation makes suitable investigation for non-sensitive position designated as moderate public trust. Request using 85P. Investigation conducts a tier 2-5 meet the minimum standards for employee contractors and subcontractors with access to FTI. Once again, that's federal tax information. The fifth standard requires investigation a minimum of 5 years. So once again, they're going to check out your employment, your current job status, if you had any incidents, or if somebody reported you in the national database. So they're going to look at that for the 85P.
Mhm. Yeah, PBO. You know what? I just thought about it when you thinking about your friend or the person who you knew who was going back 15 years
Mm-hmm.
to see like their like background check. I didn't
Yep.
know how long they went back. Like 15 years is a very long time. I wasn't even in college yet. you know?
Oh yeah, but two is a lot of times is which you could get there, but a lot of times when you talk about somebody with the top secret, especially top secret polygraph, you see some of those jobs, they want you to have 10 or 15 years of experience. A lot of jobs I
Okay.
apply for, they ask you to have a decade. I'm like, that's crazy. I seen one job, they wanted you to have 20 years of experience. I got it, but I'm like, who are you looking for, man? Then I should start thinking, I'm like, y'all making shit up because the shit I did 10 years ago don't exist. I started doing COBOL, PL1, Fortran. That stuff don't even exist anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think,
Yeah.
but people are asking for that level of experience now. I'm sure you've seen that out in the job market for some jobs.
Oh yeah, that's definitely true. But I thought about it and I was like, well, let's say you get a ticket for getting pulled over or something.
You
Do
good?
they
No,
you
you
good?
good.
Okay.
As long as you pay it. As long as you pay it. So,
Yeah.
but no,
Okay.
they're looking for something big. Like I've seen people with some crazy stuff on their stuff, man. It's like,
Yeah. 10 years is 15 years is a very long time.
especially in IT, man. So I mean, I've seen people with domestic violence stuff on their stuff,
Yeah.
armed robbery. I'm like, dude, I'm like, but he was a kid though, the dude. I think, which was crazy because it was like 17. I'm like, how are we looking at people's juvenile records, man? Ain't that illegal? I thought that stuff was locked up. So a lot of stuff be coming up on people, man.
Yeah.
So
You
that,
never really know. And you never know where you're gonna be in the future either.
yeah, then two is you young, and a lot of times some people could report at you doing something you didn't do. All right, and they got
Yeah.
put on the police. So now I didn't really do it, but now you arguing because it's actually on your record. You might have just plead something lower so you wouldn't have to deal with it, right? So there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
things you got to think of, man, or put in your record when you do stuff.
Yeah, PBL. Man, I can't believe it, man. I ain't that young anymore, man. I'm about to be 30.
Nah, man, time gonna fly, man. If I feel like I was just 30, I'm like, I just turned. I ain't tell people I just turned 57 this month. I'm like, I'm damn near 60. I'm like, it's over for me. It's over.
Yeah, man. My dad's got turned 57, so
So yeah, I see. Look, that's crazy. I'm the same age as your dad. That's how old I am, man. But now the time go past. The time goes quick, man. I'm just amazed that and then you look back, you're like, I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have did that. But overall, and now I don't really have a lot of things. I regret in life, which is cool for me. There's a few things I wish I would have done a little differently, or some jobs I wish I would have took. Um, but like I said, that's why I don't your bridge. Like I said,
mm,
DOD offered me a job. I'm thinking, man, if I took it, I would probably be retiring, man. I think they offered me a job in 2007. I'm like, man, I could have 20 years and walking out the door. So, but it's all
mm.
good. I don't have nothing to complain about.
Yeah, man. Everything happened for a reason. And like I'm thinking about all the things we have right now. When you talk about COBOL is
Oh,
Fortran is gone, PL SQL is gone. Then I'm thinking about we have React, Vue, JS,
that shit gonna be gone.
Angular is gonna be all gone. But you know what's gonna be there?
What?
Is that 15 years of record,
Uh,
that data, that information, right?
did,
That's gonna still be there.
did you see God, what's his name from Microsoft, the CEO? I can't even think. Nardelli just said that he believes front end is gonna be gone and everything's gonna be done by an agent.
Yep.
So you took the agent,
Yep.
then the agent, like you said, the agent's gonna write in the database. It don't care what database it is or how it is. So everything's gonna be done through agents. I was like, that makes sense. I never thought about that.
Yeah. Agentic AI. Yeah.
Yep. So that I thought that was it because you got to remember, I'm really before networking. When I started on dial up, you call in your phone, that's what I start working on, man. That's how so now you go from that to this. It's crazy, man. I just never,
Mhm.
just fiber to your house, man. We were going through the phone line. That shit I was downloading the music. That shit used to take 6 hours, man. You go to bed and hope your son got down on Napster. You hope that shit got down there PC through your dial-up mode. Hoping your mom didn't pick up the phone and mess it up. That's how old I am, man. So it's cool just to see the different technologies and how it swings back and forth, right? So it was mainframe, then it went to client server. Now, really, data center really is a part of a mainframe to me, right? So it's all centralized back to the data center, which is the cloud, right? Which is closer to a mainframe. So just seeing the movement of technology, how quick it's changing, and just the fundamental stuff like networking was huge, then client server was huge, then the web was huge. Now it's going to be the cloud is huge, and off of that it's going to be .com is going to see .com knocked out a lot of stuff. It's going to be interesting to see what AI takes out in the next probably 15, 20 years. So
yeah, when you talk about like the front end development going to be gone, I made a video talking about how I'm quitting making a website or doing website development,
I saw
and I'm
it.
just it's like it's not because I don't enjoy doing it, it's just because of the bandwidth and how much work it could potentially take to be able to do like small businesses. Like if I ever find myself needing some income, then I can do it. But there are so many tools out there with AI that could allow you to build a website within a few hours. You can probably do it in a few minutes, like 10 minutes.
Oh yeah.
As a matter of fact, there's already pre-made templates if you use WordPress or Wix
Wix.
or
Yeah, I'm a Wix guy.
Hostinger.
I'm a Wix guy. Yeah, but facts, a Wix guy. I'm a Wix guy.
Or
But yeah.
Shopify, right? So if you use
Yeah.
any of these website builders, you probably can just use a template and it already looks pretty and nice, and you can use AI to write the copy, and
Oh,
then that's it.
okay.
So the only thing is that some people are just kind of like don't care to learn it,
Okay.
But what's going to happen, I think, is going to be even more easy for people to be able to do their own websites.
Website gonna be like Word. After a while, you're just gonna go on a Word, change your template to the button, like you said. Let me read this quick one. Check out Larry Ellison, CEO Oracle, on AI agent writing database currently with no need for DevOps nor code errors. No, fact. Shout out to Oracle. That's how I made my first bag. I was an Oracle DBA in 1998. That's when I made my first money. I think I was making 70 grand. I thought I was the man. Like 1998. Now shout out to RCL Chris's, I think. I'll drop the link and see if he wants to come up. If I can find the link button, I'm struggling here with the link. There it is, invite, I guess. But yeah, I think the AI, yeah. I think I'm gonna do more Oracle this year too. Oracle got their cloud, and so I think I might check them out a little more for a database.
Yeah, Oracle for government work, right?
Yep, still a ton of Oracle out there. Somebody hit me up with a job the other day if I want to do some Oracle PL SQL program. I'm like, man, I ain't touched PL SQL probably in 7 years, man.
Hey, but SQL in itself, there may be some differences, but it's still SQL. Still
Yeah, it
the
is.
like
It
same
is.
language.
It is. Oracle had their version of SQL. It's pretty close to ANSI SQL. One of my homies, I'll probably bring him on, super killer architect. He was showing me the few things you can do in Oracle ANSI SQL that you couldn't do in Oracle base SQL. But
Yeah, I used to use Oracle in my last company.
well, I love Oracle PL SQL, man. I used to do some weird trigger stuff, man. Now they've used triggers because they were so complicated. People couldn't figure out where they were at. So they tell you not to use triggers. They tell you to put at least PL SQL and call it from a
ETL tool.
Yeah, make it a little easier. But yeah, so
Yeah, that's how it is. That's how it is in the cloud too. They have like schedule queries and stuff like that you can run.
yeah. I use System Manager inside of AWS. That's kind of their query tool. You can set it up to run standard jobs or have it run off of some if some goes into a S3 bucket. It could be event driven when it saves to actually kick out a Lambda or a piece of code. So that's kind of how I
Yeah,
use it.
and the thing about it though too is that I think what it is I remember writing some like schedule queries or like triggers,
Mm-hmm.
and it being tied to my personal account. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, if somebody else wasn't, didn't know about it, they'd be like, okay, well, what happened to this job that was supposed to be running, updating this, this SQL table, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you're updating a table, and then let's say you get let go. Now you just have this job just running, and nobody knows who owns it.
Yeah, we wouldn't do that. We would fire you. We have owners of code and owners of triggers. So you would log in, you would sudo inside a database, then we could track you did. So you have to do it as the owner of the schema. Then that way it will be all under one user. So we would
Mhm.
fire you B2B. You got to do it as the owner. But once again, who's ever in production, and there was only a couple people could actually build that in production with, and they had the owner password for the schema. So we put the code under one user and the data owner under the schema owner, because the data owner, once you build it up, you would lock it, right? So nobody could
Mhm.
change it. But the code owner could actually, you would grant rights to be able to change it. So from a security perspective, that's why they did that. So
It makes a lot more sense. Put it under, maybe even put it under a service account,
that's
right?
really what it is. The schema owner is the Oracle database service account. We just call it
Okay.
schema. So yeah, it's the same thing, but for the schema owner, it owns all the code for that particular code base under that user. We call it schema owner. So you would
Mm.
log in as a schema owner that way. Then two, what we do, we run jobs. So if there was jobs out there that was created that wasn't by the schema owner, we would figure out who did it. Then we can actually write it out through the tables. Then we will rebuild it on the schema owner. So everything once again will be controlled under that owner. Then we can assign who can execute, write, read, access. Then so because you like you said because if we fire you, then if we dropped your username, then all that code would get dropped, right? So once again, we would have the schema owner. Then we would change the password to that for like every 60 days, which kind of
Yeah,
sucked, but
I have seen it where like the manager would get access as the owner if somebody will get let go.
mm-hmm.
And that works for like documents and code, all that.
Yeah, same thing. That's what we did. Any production work, like you said, if this was a job running inside Oracle, we would have it, like you said, a service account. Then there would be a data owner, which was the schema. Then we had another owner that would hold all your PL SQL code, because you can execute to the data owner. So there was some cool things you could do from a security perspective with that. So that was but shit, that's like 10 years ago. That was best practices. I haven't looked at what it would be now, but back then that's how we did it. So you would never have individual users owning anything inside your Oracle schema. Now in test you would, right? Because you test and stuff, but in production, it probably was about 4 or 5 accounts. And if anything showed up besides the 4 or 5 accounts, that was an exception report, and we need to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, and even if you log in from your computer into the other account, like you logging into an Edge node,
Mm-hmm.
uh, signing into one of those IDs is privileged IDs,
Mm-hmm.
then it would track to say, okay, it came from this computer, which is owned by
Mm-hmm.
this, resource.
Yep, we track your IP. We would save your IP. Um, yeah, we would save your IP. Then a lot of times too is a lot of times we force you to log in a Unix box, and you have to sudo. Then if you do a slash, that will run as the system owner on that particular Unix box. So a lot of
Mm,
times we didn't want you logging in from like SQL Plus. We want you actually in on that box. That's kind of
yeah,
another level of security, forcing you to log into that Oracle box with SSH. Because when you
yep.
sudo, then I could track every command you run when you switch to that power user.
Hmm. Yeah, man. I was sitting here thinking about it. I was like, man, I'm starting to think about just using like my own account and stuff like that to like do some tests and learn how the architecture is,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it comes like like Snowflake and AWS.
Yep. I do it a lot. Sometimes I be logging stuff as root, which is a no. I be lazy. I'm like, I'm just gonna run as root. Don't have to worry about. Then later on, I'll say, okay, what is your privileges you just need? What's the least known for that? But a lot of times, I just give myself a system and kind of just start building.
Yeah, because I mean, if you go from root, I think that they probably could stop you, right?
No, because it's my account. It's on my. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
but yeah, at work, yeah, they want. Nah, you get fired. You do that shit. So at work, yeah, no, because you won't have root at work.
Yeah.
So, but on my account, because I'm ready to start labbing. I'm gonna start showing those labs. So I've started labbing again on AWS. So doing some stuff. So I'm gonna show that. But yeah, because it's my account. So sometimes I just get lazy. Hey, can how's Vitals Microsoft Azure and the government infrastructure day? It's very valuable because the base of all the government stuff is Office 365, and that's in Azure. All of them starts off with email. All of them starts off with email and Teams, and all that stuff is in Microsoft Azure. So just from that particular standpoint, they're winning the game. And SharePoint, everybody gets that by default in the government. Everybody's running the Office 365. Everybody's running Teams, and in Teams you get Planner, all those other good products included in there. So it's vital, Aiken.
hmm Yeah, we also use Azure.
Yeah, like I said, so a lot of times I don't use Azure. I use a lot of Teams products, but Office 365 is in Azure. So um, so yeah, so from that standpoint, you definitely gonna get there. Oh, he shot it again. But yeah, so yeah, from Office 365 and all the team products, all that's are Azure. So you're off and running. And most governments are running once again Office 365. Then there's a lot of enhancement from malware, bad IP, different things inside Office 365 for security. Um, DLPs in there, Microsoft Defender, Intra IDs in there. So all that stuff is Azure. Give me 1 second. I got to cut off my little heater I got. I'm in my office baking.
I feel you.
I'm baking. Give me
Yeah,
one.
yeah, man. I was sitting here thinking about how like so many different companies have just adopted that multi-cloud structure where you have like my previous companies they primarily use Google Cloud Platform where they did everything for like their compute storage when they're like deploying jobs, everything was written in Google Cloud Platform.
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's multi-cloud, so that way they can actually save on costs. And I was talking to a guy who used to work for Amazon, or
Mm-hmm.
really for AWS, and his thing was to sell products like AWS products to different companies, and then they were like, okay, well, hey, how can we, save on costs? And he can say everything but have a multi-cloud structure or use another cloud product, just based off of like the requirements for like the salespeople.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So he couldn't tell them exactly how they could really save on their costs because he said any cloud provider that you get, you're just going to incur more and more costs exponentially as time progresses.
100%. And yeah, and two is I think if you review your costs and check them, you can bring them down. But what happens is developers get comfortable, so they start spinning up more VMs. They got more things to test and try. So you got to get that understanding with your development team because everything they spin up is going to cost, right? Then
Yep.
two is, which is the good thing is, you can add more advanced security easier for a lower cost. But the problem is, even though it's lower cost, you didn't have that cost in your on-prem because it was too complicated. So next thing you know, all of the savings you made, you eating it back up because you're like, oh, I can get this DLP. I can add this. It's called security control policy. I can do ID perimeter. I can do this, and Amazon makes all that stuff for free. So you're more secure, but it comes at a cost. So I think it's cheaper in the long run, but what happens is you get more features and you can do more things easier. So as a data
Yeah.
engineer, it's easier for you to bring more data into S3. It's easier to make a pipeline. So now you might be sucking in extra data to kind of figure out how you can make money with it. But anything you suck in extra, S3 is going to bill you for it, even though it's cheaper. Even if you take it to Glacier and it's a penny a terabyte, that stuff start adding up after a while.
Yeah, man. And isn't Glacier like the most like archived?
It is. It takes like 12 hours to get it back, I think, if you do the most one. So for us, if we're doing logging or compliance checks, because there's some stuff from compliance and FOIA requests, you got to keep that shit for 25 years, man. So you can put it in Glacier, because if you get audited and you need it, by the time the auditors get here, it'll be 10 or 12 hours so that you can get it back. But yeah, that's the cheapest one. But you can get like a terabyte or petabyte for like a penny. It's something super cheap.
Yeah, it's really cheap.
So
Yeah, and I think you can. I think it's something like where you can do it quarterly or something like that. You can, update it quarterly.
yeah, you could do intelligent tier and it would do it for you. So when
Okay.
intelligence says you working on it, oh, B2B ain't touched this in 90 days. I'm gonna move it to. I'm trying to think what comes in front of Glacier. It's some Glacier.
Because that's AWS, right?
Yeah, I'm AWS.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna talk. But
Yeah, because
yeah,
I only know GCP, so it's like
yeah.
the
They both the
archive
same.
would be Glacier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's all the same at a certain level. They all doing the same
because it's
thing.
like in GCP is you have nearline, code line, then you have
Yeah,
archive, and then that's what Glacier would be.
yeah. Glacier's got some of that.
Yeah. And then you have standard is like just a regular storage.
Yeah, I think standards. When I was looking up AWS is real quick while we was talking.
Right.
So see if I can bring the picture. Yeah, they're all kind of the same. That's the cool thing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
You find it, PBO?
Yeah, I'm getting there. I think I found it.
PBO, can I ask you a quick question though?
Always. Keep
A
going.
little bit it's unrelated to this though,
No,
but
it's all good. Whatever you want to ask, man. If I want to answer, I'll tell you I'm not answering. But go ahead.
because I think didn't I tell you I was making a video about like the tech conferences, how much they cost?
Yeah, you
But
told me that. Go ahead.
I also added like the trend that people will go to these conferences and they were not in tech, not even interested in tech at all, and essentially go into debt, but they're trying to find a tech bay.
I saw that. I saw that on another video. But go ahead. I don't know if
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it's mostly women, but that's not a bad move, man. From their
Mm-hmm.
standpoint, B2B's eligible. He gonna be making 200 in about a year or two. Hell, if he can lock you down, give you a baby, shit, that's the play, man.
And I'm in the video just confirming it. It is true that it happens. That people will go in and have no interest in actually like the talks or anything like that. But I'm sitting here like, man, people are like taking out Klarna and debt and all kinds of stuff just to be able to go. And these tickets cost like on average between $300 to $700.
Yeah, but you're trying to make a lifetime investment, man. B2B is a great investment, man. That's
A lifetime investment.
That's the ROI on B2B is a good investment. That's a good investment, man. If she asked me, I'm like, hell, that's a good $300-400. Especially if you close and you can drive. Shit, that's a killer investment, man. I'm on her side. Hell, if that's what's gonna work, shit. I mean, because let's think about it. Babes used to go to Lowe's and try to find dudes there. That's the new Lowe's. It's the tech industry, man. A lot of times, yeah, we nerds. We ain't used to, the bad women. So, hey, they were trying to lock you up, man. If you can't get an NFL person, get you a tech person, man. If you can't get a ball player, so a lot of times you're gonna be in the because what was it? I think only 7% of black dudes make 100,000. So if you get up there in a couple years, you in there. You be in the top 4%. I think only 17% of all men make 100,000. It's not a big number, man.
Yep.
So,
And you know what's interesting about it? I talked to some of the women in the tech community, and they said they need that man to make at least minimum 200.
I'm about to hang up on you. I've been hearing that too, man. I've been hearing that too. But I'm old, man. I ain't in that. But yeah, but granted, man, I was making 100 in the early 2000s. So today's prices ain't, what it was yesterday's prices ain't today's prices. So I can see that, especially in Atlanta, man. Y'all house is like 400,000. It ain't like y'all got Indiana prices. So I can see that. I can see that being 200.
Yeah.
So, if y'all got any questions for chat, cybersecurity, tech, put them in there. Obviously, we shut down. We done went over to red pill information.
No, it was just asking, man.
No, that was a good question. I ain't mad, man. That you probably need to contact the lead attorney, man. He's 6'3", making a lot of money, man. That's probably a better question for the lead attorney. Shout out to him.
The return on investment, man.
Yeah, man. You got a good ROI, man. So you the man. So And too, they think we nerds. They think they can throw it on you and, you be ready to get on one knee, man. So shout out to them. I ain't mad, man. That ain't a bad plan. I ain't falling for it, but that ain't a bad plan. That ain't a bad plan. Be careful out there, brothers. Be careful out there. Shout out to that. But no, I saw that. I don't know, about 3 or 4 videos, actually. Maybe I saw it on yours, but I don't know if I clicked on yours. But yeah, I saw that on 3 or 4 where they said that was the new trend. I'm like, which I thought about it. I'm like, that ain't a bad trend, man.
Ain't that bad at all.
Because tech. I mean, obviously now we're in a recession, but once we come out that recession, I think the 900 test is a good test. Microsoft Azure is in there. I'm actually starting to do a little Power BI. I'm gonna do some videos on that from a GRC perspective. Everybody's doing their dashboards in Power BI. I'm actually going to link Power BI to AWS, take the cloud, watch information, pipe it to Power BI, do dashboards out there. If you try to log on 100 times in 2 minutes, obviously that's a brute force. Put that IP on the dashboard and turn it red. So those are some of the things we're going to do. The big one we talked about there is privilege escalation, send this to B2B's boss or send this to B2B. He's the supervisor. Should John Hightower have these permissions to QA? B2B got to say if I keep them or I lose them, right? A lot of times B2B might be like, oh, PPO don't went to security. He don't need none of that. Take all that away. He don't work for me. You need to get some security stuff, right? So you need to have those reviews, those access reviews. I think regular access reviews from this standpoint is a year. I think privilege access from FTI is every 6 months because they kind of because privilege escalation, they want you to review those accounts. I appreciate you, Game Over. Definitely salute to B2B.
Salute.
We red pilling it a little bit. But I saw that, B. I'm almost 57. Don't nobody want me to know more, B, before the billions. I don't have to worry about that. That's a young man's game, man. That's a young man's game.
Hey, man, PPO, you never know, man.
So, I'm old, man. If you younger than my son, I can't mess with you, man. My son 37, man. So that's guys. So yeah. So the game is over for me. Once again, drop your questions. We're gonna shut it all down. I want to wish everybody a happy Christmas Eve. Hopefully, everybody gonna enjoy their Christmas. Get the grind, and hopefully, 2025. We want to see those videos. What's your goals for 2025? I'm gonna try that CISP again, which I failed in 2024. I never taken it, but I got to take that. I'm hoping to get the SysOp in AWS and buy me an apartment building. That's my goals for 2025, man.
And PPO, I know you can do it, man, because I remember my old director. He got the CISSP, and he said he didn't study for it at all. He just kind of like went in there, but he had like 10 years of experience in teaching. So I was like, you know what, PPO, you've been teaching. You have more than 10 years of experience.
Yeah, but I got the opposite problem. Since I was a tech, I took it 15 years ago. I figured out I was asking them as a technologist, not as a manager. So it's a management test. So a lot of times when I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's from a tech. Then I think I'll get from a manager. That's so I'm finally getting out that tech and thinking of it as a manager because it's a manager test.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
So that's kind of where I was struggling from my. Then two is I'm like, I got a job. Do I really need it? Do I really want to put
I
myself?
mean, you become CISO.
I don't want those type of headaches, man. I don't want those type of headaches. I don't, man. I've never ran a budget, so that's one reason I would struggle with. Where I don't think I get those. Look, I get offered senior jobs all the time. Most of my jobs are senior-ish, which is cool. I just don't want a team anymore. I just don't want to manage teams anymore. I had a couple bad teams that almost killed me. Because we can do it for. I appreciate you, game over. So yeah, so that. But once again, shout out to Gabe. I think that's some kind of mistakes I made in my life. I should have took a team, became supervisor, and like Gabe, get on that director track. So shout out to him. Then you can hire people and assist people a little easier from that particular perspective. So I think that's not a regret, but something I kind of wish I would have done a little differently going up the chain. Because I got an MBA, I got that offer every day, all day when I was younger.
Yeah, that's I think the one of the best ways to help people get into tech is to actually be able to get jobs for people.
And if you got a team, a lot of times, even though you got to go through HR, a lot of times you get to pick your team. So that's kind of that's kind of a regret, because I was looking for a job. I called one of my managers. She was big time. She was working for one of the big companies. She just told me, find something on the website, send it to me. She's in Colorado. She goes, the guys in Chicago. I'll make, if you want it, let me know. I was like, okay. I couldn't find nothing that kind of fit me, but she's like, if you find something, let me know. I was just thinking, that's powerful, man. And like,
they can make the phone call.
Yep, she's like, I'll make the phone call. Just find something you fit or something you like. I didn't really find something I like, but that's always kind of been in my thing. One of my homies, he was an ex-vet, but he was kind of paralyzed from car accident. He just passed away. His own company. He used to always tell me, I'll pay you 6 figures, but you got to do PMP. I had to manage the security part of a project, which I hated, but I always thought if I ever got hemmed up, but he passed away, that I could always do that.
So, well, sorry to hear that, man. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but I was spending about 3 or 4 years ago. Shout out to him. I met him at DOD when we worked together. Then once he left, he spun off his own company.
Yeah,
it was growing pretty. It was growing pretty well too. So
hopefully, yeah, it's good though. Yeah, PBO, I ain't gonna hold you up, man. I know it's almost Christmas time.
Yeah, I'm about to go to bed, man. I'm about to lay down. I will get up tomorrow, do a little work. Oh, shout out! I'm working on my course, so I'm trying to get my course ready by the middle of January. So I've been working on that. So that's going pretty well.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good way to make some income, especially in these YouTube streams, man. I looked at how much money I made this month. It was like $29.
I was right there.
Good Lord.
Yeah, shout out to Dr. Ozier. He has a GRC Academy, so I'm teaching a NIST class in his academy. So, but I tell people I got a lot of free stuff. Check out my playlist to make sure you really want to take my course. PBR just ain't how trying to sell just to be selling, man. I want people to, be able to take advantage of the course. And like I said, I got a lot of free stuff in my playlist. But if you want to go to the next level, I'm getting my quizzes ready. Long story short, a lot of people know I taught at community college for 10 years. So I always wanted to bring that to YouTube. So once again, he's giving me the opportunity to do that. And I think he's got like 50,000 subs. So I'm hoping he's gonna promote it. Promote it. So now shout out to Dr. Ozier, Simply Cyber. So I'm kind of pairing up with him. So shout out to that. Once again, I want to wish everybody a happy Christmas, happy New Year, happy holidays. I'm like, man, 2024 flew by, man. I gotta get it together. It like came and went super quick. So once again, if anybody need me, professorblackOps@gmail.com. I'm usually checking it. Give me 2 days. I used to teach. I get 48 hours to check my email, but I usually get back to you quicker than that. If I don't check it, just put under one of my videos, check my email. I'm like, oh, my bad. I got you. So you got any last words, B2B, before I shut it down?
I just want to say have a Happy holiday, Merry Christmas, everyone. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Shout out to all the people watching the live stream right now, and also all the people watching the replay. Wouldn't be here without you guys.
I appreciate you. You see that B2B Tech War stories? I got a few.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. I do
I
have
got a
some
lot.
stories too.
Oh man, I deleted everybody check in the state of Indiana by accident one year.
Woo!
I was looked out, it was out on backup tape. Dude's like, let me make a backup of the backup. I was like, I almost got fired. I was an intern at the state. I almost got fired. I was like, I'm like, I don't think I did that JCL right. So you never did JCL in school because all your data fit on the disk. But in the real world back then, wasn't a lot of space. So you had to take it off a tape and write it to the disk. Then do what you need to do to write it to tape. And I think I messed the order up a little bit. I was like,
Yeah.
So,
and you know what is that that I remember the same guy from AWS told me about how his previous company, they deleted the database, and it was a small startup, and they didn't have any snapshots, and they were in the healthcare sector, so they didn't have any snapshots, they didn't have any backups, nothing. They just had it all deleted from the database, and that was it. So it cost them a lot of money.
This one company, they lucked. I think they got hacked, but it was a global company, and they took down every AD, and the AD was replicating. They said it was a small subsidiary in Africa. Their AD happened to be offline to do something, so the replication didn't delete the AD data. So they flew on a jet to get a copy of it because they were scared to bring it up. So there, you got to be careful with those. That's a lot of times I say I don't want to go back to the engineering part because compliance, I just review it. Engineering, you in there day to day, and I've been, man, you could be up at night, or you can take a company out, man, if it's not replicated, or SREs, site reliability engineer. Your job is to make sure that stuff is copied and it can come up and how quick it come up. Your job as an SRE, site reliability engineer, is to make sure stuff like that don't happen, but you got to have it architected correctly. And once again, it could be, a hacker could get in there. Long story short, the company did the same thing. The hacker got into it, then it replicated over to their backup, and somehow he got off the backup. He dropped all their sites, and they didn't pay him. So that's why people think I'm crazy. If I'm in charge of it, there will be a backup in a bank account somewhere from the database.
I remember, and this is at my current company is one of our cybersecurity leaders. He was talking about how right now one of the worst things is going on in the cybersecurity space is ransomware.
Oh yeah.
He said ransomware, and he said that right now it's so much more easy for people to do the bad things or the wrong thing than it is for them to do the right thing.
Well, what happened is the bad guys in Russia, how you have software as a service, they got ransomware as a service. You pay them, they take 30%, and they give you the best ransomware. They give you the template email to make you click on it. They give you some 0-day modules. Then when you take over to the ransomware, you give them 30% of the proceeds. So newbies with no skills are getting the top ranked stuff. It's like you're using AWS, man. So yeah, it's called ransomware as a service. So yeah, so now you got script kiddies with the top stuff, and they don't know what they're doing. But it's easy.
Is it that somebody could hack your device without you even clicking on the email?
Yeah, Pegasus. That was $1 million piece of ransomware. It's hard to get that. But yeah, Pegasus, it was done by Israel. They're the top nation in cybersecurity. So they hacked every government official, every Russian official. They was getting everybody. But yeah, it was a no-click ransomware. But once again, that's a 1% top of the chain, an attack. But yeah, someone that's out there. Okay. Look up Pegasus, Israel Pegasus. I did a video on about that.
I'm scared it's gonna get me. Right. You go to Wikipedia, there you go. Wikipedia it doesn't have the eyes like a different kind of eye.
Yeah, you gotta watch them. Yeah, you gotta watch them. You gotta be hovering it, but they doing those other characters that look so close. You be like, now is that a 0 or what's that? So Yeah, you be squinting. But yeah, hey, Ken, I'm doing a course, man. I haven't really told a lot of people. Shout out to Chris Whitlock for Study GRC. He's been editing for me, make sure I ain't doing it crazy. So
That's
I'm
good.
about to do 3 modules and send it to the change board control to make sure I use because you got to do 1080p. There's a lot of stuff in there, so I'm gonna make sure I'm doing it right. But I've got videos on all that forever, so just getting my slides updated and then just kind of ripping through. So once again, I'm getting that done. I'm trying to get that done probably in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So that's my goal. Try to have about 20 hours of it, 25 hours.
Right. All right. Well, PPO, I appreciate you for having me up here, man.
No problem.
Salute to everybody. Merry Christmas and happy
Be careful
holidays.
out there, man. Don't come back married, man. We got to come up. What would that be? A tech bro, not a passport bro? We got to come up with a term for that. We got to come up with a term. So, but I saw that, man. You got to tell them be careful out there, man. They set the trap for you, man. Shout out to them, though, man. That's a good. BDB got a high ROI, man. So we're gonna wish him good luck out there in these cybersecurity streets for the holiday. I'm out. Everybody have a good night. I'm out. Check y'all.